Hello, welcome to Boardgames with Niramas. I'm Joseph, I'm here with Drako, and we are continuing here with our top list of board games and card games. And half the list has gone, it's only 50 left to go, so of course really good games coming in this episode. And before we get going, don't forget that you can support us on Patreon. You have the patreon.com/bgwniramas, and we appreciate all the support that you can give us on the channel. We do need that for building a new studio and so on up ahead here. Now you're all curious, what is the number 50? So let's get started with today's list. At number 50, today's first game here that I want to talk about is Gaia Project. Gaia Project was my number 1 once in a time. And that's a lot of zooming on the video. It was my number 1 back in the days, and it's fallen down to 50. It's still a game that I like a lot. I still enjoy it. I like solo. Here's one of my solo videos. I have both multiplayer and solo videos for this one. This is the space build on Terra Mystica. Terra Mystica is not on my list anymore, not in the top here, but I really enjoy Gaia Project a lot still. I like the whole system of the game, and I like, especially in this game, I like those technology tracks that you move up on. You get access to new technology, new ways to do things, which is really fun to me. That's something that Terra Mystica didn't have in the same way. And the whole structure of the game is, this is a heavy game. It's one of the heaviest games that I enjoy. But of course, I played it all the way back from beta. We actually beta tested this and all that. So I have my name on the box cover as well, which I do like. So I did play this game a lot, and so to me, it's really got burnt into my memory. So I think I could pull out the game now and just play it, even though it's heavy and has a lot of rules, a lot of things. But there's a lot of combo in this game, and there's a lot of one thing that leads to another. It might not be in the same turn, but it's like in this game my mind works. I can make a strategy, I can stick to it, and I like the whole asymmetrical part of which faction you're playing. It's very, very different, and it makes for a very interesting game. And of course, I don't like to play these heavy games in any way competitively or anything like that. So for me, it's more like discovering, like, trying a new faction or trying a faction I haven't played in a while, and see like how am I supposed to think and how am I supposed to do things in the right order. And there's a lot of this like planning out your turns, and there could be a little bit of like downtime in AP because it's quite heavy again, right? But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I mean, in solo, I have no one else to wait for. It's just the Atoma. So, I'll probably play this solo soon again. This is one of those games that I will never get rid of from my collection because, the whole beta process and having my name on the box. So this is going to stick there. I have tried the Steam version as well, and I wasn't that impressed. And I think it's on BGA now as well. I think so. I'm not that interested in this kind of this weight of games, these heavier games. I don't like them in digital form. I want to have them on the board because there's so much going on, and I need to plan out stuff. Like I for some reason I have a hard time doing that in the digital board game format. So yeah, Gaia Project, my number 50. Now let's keep going. Even better games to come. So next up here, 49, it's Endeavor: Age of Sail. This is a game that I really enjoy. I haven't played it in a while. I hope to get to play it sometime soon. This is a game that is a little bit, out of the ordinary for me in terms of things that go on in this game and how I feel about them. Like thematically, there's some issues, I think, with like colonizing and slavery and so on. Even though you can abolish slavery, it's part of the game that you can like work to abolish slavery, which I do appreciate there. And it's also, historically correct. And also it has some, like it's not that problematic, I think, from that viewpoint. But there's a little bit of that in there that could be questionable, whether or not I like sitting around at my with my friends having a good time pretending to colonize the world. It's not something I usually enjoy that much. It's very abstract in this one though, and there's also from a mechanism standpoint there are some direct attacking another player, which is also something I don't really like that much, but it doesn't happen that often in this game, and it usually happens like at the end of the game, some critical points where it's like area control and you're trying to take control of something on the board, which is again something I usually don't go for that much, area control. But yeah, there's something about this game that I really like, and the main part is the player boards and how your actions work. So it's like a action selection game in a sense where you're building up your own. So as the game progresses, you will have some different buildings and actions that you can do than someone else has. So you're like asymmetrically forming your actions during the game, and you have these like discs that you need to use in order to perform your actions. So you need to get more discs, but then you also need to pay for the discs. So you have like this whole economy the system of like balance these different tracks that you have on your board so that they are in a good balance so that you can do the actions that you want to do. This game also comes with a bunch of different, I don't remember the name of them now, but like different add-ons or expansion pieces, like mini expansion things that you can play with different games. You can have different combinations of these scenarios, and you can play without them. You can just play the pure base game if you want. I really like those though, because they change up on some things, how they work. They give you some extra goals that you can pursue, and they change up the game in a fun way and gives variety to the gameplay. But yeah, good components, really good stuff. We even played the expansion. We played that one in like prototype form, like a beta testing. I really enjoy that one as well. I haven't played the finished product though. I think Mats has that one. But so I like the expansion of this as well. It added a bunch of more buildings, which was interesting. So yeah, really good one here, Endeavor Age of Sail. And then at 48 we have the first entry on the list that is new for this, my top 100 this year on this segment. And we have another one coming later on tonight. But Stone Age, older style game, but it moved up on my top 100 because I played it a bunch on Board Game Arena. I really liked it a lot. I mean, this is a like very entry, weight introductory game to worker placement. Classic board game by now, came out in 2008. And in Stone Age, you are having your little meeples, and they go out to gather resources and then use the resources to build things like buildings that give you points. Very basic in a sense. And it also has the thing where you go to get like lumber, and then you have to roll dice depending on how many workers you placed. And depending on how you roll, you will get a certain amount of resources that you're trying to get, which, some Euro people wouldn't like because, you can put in a lot of people and then roll badly. And then like, I don't care. Like, I'm having a blast playing this. I'm just having a good time playing this one. It's been so much fun. And I really like how Board Game Arena also has these. There's a lot of people playing it. Let's see if we can find some more. Here's some meeples. I really like playing. Here we go with the playboard. I like playing this on Board Game Arena because they also have a bunch of different mini expansions. I really like the Mammoth expansion. That's one I can recommend you to try if you're playing this on Board Game Arena. It adds like a little mini game where you're like rolling against each other trying to herd the mammoth, and then you get some fun reward from that. And yeah, there's a lot of basic but really fun mechanisms in this one, and I like that this is a family style worker placement game, and I like that you can play it with even like new people to the hobby. I taught this game to a bunch of my friends from the werewolf group, and we had a great time playing it, and I usually win against them, but I still have to like stay on my toes because they are getting better at the game as we go. So yeah, really enjoy Stone Age, and it's one of those games that I played like years back and I wasn't that impressed, and I don't know why now, because now that I got to play it more and get into it, I really enjoy it. So all right, let's head on to the next one. And then we have a game that I only filmed in the app format on my phone, and I even play this like 99.9% on my phone. I played it in physical form as well with multiplayer, but I play it a lot solo on my phone. I still do from time to time. It's a really enjoyable experience. So it's Ganschen Clever, or That's Pretty Clever as it's called in English, and also the Doppelt So Clever, which is another one. I didn't want to separate them, but I like both of them. And yeah, it's just such a nice app on your phone. This is such a good game to, like, it's one of those roll and write. So if you play it in physical form, you are rolling the dice and you're actually, Xing out stuff and writing down numbers on your little player sheet. And you're just basically trying to get combinations of numbers in certain ways to score the most points. That's the whole game, but there's a lot of strategy and a lot of decisions to make, and like how you use the dice, how different combinations, what you're going for, and I really enjoy this a lot, Ganschen Clever. And there is, what was that one called? There was one I filmed pretty recently with Drako, I think, like 6 months ago or something. That was the latest implementation. And then I think there was also some new ones released at Essen Spiel in this series of games. So I'm interested in all of those because I just find them so enjoyable. It's my favorite roll and write game for sure. So yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the next one. Next up is Chronicles of Crime, which is a like crime solving mystery style game where you have, like you can see here, you have a phone app, and your QR codes on everything. So you're like scanning different cards and different like items that you find, and like you're asking people questions about these items and how they go together. It's one of those games, like this game wouldn't be possible without that app implementation. I think it's really good, and you make like you talk to people in the app, you make choices, all that stuff. Things change, like people move around in the city and all that. This is one I did a live stream playthrough here of in solo mode, and there's a bunch of different scenarios. You can check this one out, and you will be spoiled, of course, of this scenario, but there's a bunch of them out there. So if you want to see how the game plays. I also played this quite a bit, the Anno 1400, which is, there's a few of these now in like a series of games, so it's like take place in different time slots in history. So Chronicles of Crime here is like modern style, right? But then the 1400 is like medieval style. And I played that with my friends and had a really good time, and we're going to continue that campaign at some point as well. It's not a campaign, it's different scenarios, but they get more and more advanced and so on. So yeah, I really enjoy this one. I really like this style of like solving a crime game, like a mystery, and then the app keeps track of everything, and then like you have like basically everything you do in the game costs a little bit of time, like moving between different spaces or different places in the city or wherever you are, talking to people and so on. It takes time in the app, and then once you think you have solved it, whatever crime it is, then you will also get like a score depending on how much time it took you to get there, and if you were correct and so on. Yeah, Chronicles of Crime, really cool game system. I really think it's really smart and innovative when this came out, how they used the QR codes on your phone to make a game. And at 45, it's Concordia. So this is a sort of classic board game by now. It's like moving around, building cities and gathering resources and getting different kinds of action cards and so on. And the base game and its mechanisms are really good. It has this system of like you have some cards in your hand. As you play a card, you perform the actions on the card, and then the card is like in your discard pile. And then we have one card that is to like pick up all the other cards. So you need to reset at some point. I like that system. And the base game itself is good, even though it wouldn't make my top 100, I think. I got a little bit bored with the base game in itself. But then there's like expansions, there's salsa expansions and all that. But the main expansion for this is the Venus, is the Concordia Venus, which is an expansion or like a standalone game as well, where you can play in teams. And it's not that many games that I know of, like Euro-style board games, that you can play in teams. And this is so cool. You can play like 2 versus 2, or you can play 2 versus 2 versus 2 in a 6-player game. It's one of the few games that I really like to play 6 players. I mean, most of the time I'm not a big fan of that, but the way it works is like if me and my partner, if I'm doing an action on my turn, then my partner gets to do that action as well. And then we can't communicate. You can choose how you play that, but we play it that way that you can't talk about your strategy, because that will really slow down the game. And I like that tension as well, where I'm trying to predict what my partner is looking to do, and I'm trying to play an action so that it benefits us both at the same time. Really interesting team game. I really enjoy that a lot. And then this year as well, they released a new expansion that I really enjoyed, the Solitaria one, where you can play solo or you can play co-op on 2 players against like an automated opponent, and it works so nicely. I mean, you can check out this playthrough here where I played solo. It just works super well, and it's really hard as well, which should be in those kind of solo co-op games. And it's you get like the whole experience of Concordia and all that. It was also very interesting how they did the Atoma. It's not like a random deck that you pull from to see what they do. They respond to the action that you as the player are doing. So if I'm doing something, then I know what the AI will do as a consequence of my action, which means I can also like plan stuff out. But at the same time, I might need to do something. I really want to build over here or whatever. But the problem is then I know that the AI might take the card that I want, and it makes for an interesting decision space. Really enjoy Concordia a lot. So yeah, it moved up on my list here this year because of those expansions, especially the Solitaria that came out since I did this list last year. And it's just so good. Really enjoy this one a lot. And there's also a Steam app that is also really good, where you can play solo as well. Really good Steam app. So Concordia on my top 100, on my top 45 even. And then at 44, we have a very, very small card game again, a party game style drawing game. Fake Artist Goes to New York is the name of this one. And it's one of my favorite party games for sure. It's a really, like, you're drawing things on a common board. And everyone has, like in this case, everyone knows that you're supposed to draw a donkey except one player, who is the fake artist. And they will of course have to figure out what it is the other people are drawing. So that if you know what the word is, you can't be too obvious about it, because then the fake artist will figure it out and get the chance to name it at the end of, and then win that way. So and when you're drawing, you're putting down the pen and you make one continuous line. So it's kind of hard as well to draw well. And then you're doing that like twice in a round. It goes around, and then you will all guess who is the fake artist based on what you see there. And then if you get that correctly, then the fake artist has like a chance to say, okay, well, I think it's a donkey, that's the correct word. And if they get it correct, then they win. Nobody really cares too much about who wins in this game. It's this case a lot of times with party games, right? Where you're mostly having fun, laughing, and enjoying this. And then it doesn't really matter that much who won or what the score is or whatever. Yeah, so fake artist goes to New York, small box, just some pens and some paper, and you could technically just play this game without even having the game, in a sense, if you just make some cards with different words on them and so on. But yeah, I enjoy this one a lot. I think this is the perfect, especially like you can play this with like a lot of people. You can be like 10 people playing this and just pass it around like something you can write on. Really fun game. And then at 43, one of my favorite classic by now board games or card games, it's Dominion. Here with the Prosperity expansion, which I think you should play with. That is a great expansion. And yeah, it's just such a good little deck builder. I mean, it's basically just like, buy cards, draw your cards, play your cards, buy more cards. Really quick turns, which I do like. Like, there's not much downtime in this game. It's just like go quickly around the table, especially if you're playing with people that know the game well. So when I play with my friends, it's just basically I do my turn, I clean up, and oh, it's my turn again. I'm just having such a great time with this. And I like the system of this, not a market row that a lot of deck builders have, where like, oh, it's random what comes up. Instead here you have the selection of cards. So like in this game, we know these are the cards that are available to add to our decks. And then you're looking at them like before the game starts, and you're trying to figure out a pattern or a good combination, a strategy for what you want to go for. And that's just fun. And then also this whole system with like, if someone starts buying point cards, which are useless in your deck, but you need them to win, then if someone starts that race, then the race is on, then everyone starts buying point cards. And yeah, it's just such a nice, smooth deck building game, and I love the flow of the game a lot. I like the flow of the structure of the game a lot. So really had a good time playing this one, and this is one that I will constantly keep in my cycle of games that I want to play on a regular basis. So I haven't played all the expansions. There's a lot of them out there, and I don't even know if I want to play all of them with all these weird quirks and twists to it. I really enjoy the base structure a lot, and just like a few of these, the main expansions, I'm happy, because there's still a lot of variety in the game, since all these combinations of cards together. So yeah, Dominion definitely here on my list. And then we have another one of these LCG games. This is the Lord of the Rings, the card game, and this one is a co-op game or a solo game. And this, I heard a lot about this through the years. People like this a lot. There's like a big solo scene for this game, and people love playing it solo and so on. I haven't even made a video for it yet. That's something I'm planning to do here around Christmas. Maybe I'll do a live stream for it. Because this is the revised core set. So this is the new updated set that came out, and they started like redoing some of the most popular expansions and so on. So I do have some character packs for this one as well, and me and Drako will be playing like the dwarves and the elves in a co-op video sometime soon. Really enjoyed this one a lot. I really want to play this with my friends. This is one I look forward to play with my friends and play it in more than two. Because I think there could be some interesting combinations in there as well. It has a lot of strong co-op parts in this game. So like, it's a great solo game, but it's one of those games that I don't feel like in any way would be bad as in the co-op scene. On the opposite, I think there's interesting, like if I play solo, I play two-handed as well. Because I want the cooperation between the characters. They can really like help each other out, and you can find good strategies together. So I really want to play this on like 3 or 4, and I will keep trying to get this on the table with my friends as well. It's not one of those standard type of games that we usually play. We usually play those Euro games and all that, but I do love this kind of games, and I really like how the LCG style of this one as well, because you get those scenarios and you can keep building up in new cards and all that. I'm not a huge fan of the deck construction part, but this one has a good system where you don't really need to construct that much. It's just like you pick like a set of cards that has like a certain color and a certain theme, and then that's it. And then you just play with that. You don't need to sit around and like choose individual cards and build your deck before you start playing that way. I'm not a huge fan of that system in games. But yeah, really cool co-op game. I really like the structure of the game, and the theme and the artwork, everything is really well made in this one. Such a well made game. So Lord of the Rings, the card game. And now let's head to the last one for today. And then we have another game based on a very popular IP, which is Star Wars. So this is Star Wars Rebellion, and I haven't made a playthrough video of this, so this is an unboxing here. For the expansion, I think. So yeah, Star Wars Rebellion, really like it a lot. It's a 2-player game. You sort of need the expansion, I would say, because it changes up the combat system in a very good way. And it's just this massive Star Wars. It's like a huge board on the table. One is the Empire, one is the Rebels. You have like asymmetrical ways to play in that sense. I like playing as the Empire because then it's a little bit of deduction as well, trying to find the hidden rebel base and like deducing where it could be, sending out probes and units to try to find it. The rebels are trying to stay away and like stay hidden until, you know, reinforcements arrive or whatever. So yeah, really cool game. You have all the famous characters, of course, from the Star Wars universe. You have these lovely little miniatures with different, you know, these you know, all everything is like, you feel at home, like you feel like it's Star Wars. Really, everything is just Star Wars, and it's fun how you make your own story in this game when you're playing. Like you might be sending Luke on a mission, and he might be turned to the dark side or whatever, which is really cool. And there's a lot of like hidden interaction between the players. So you have these like cards, and you don't know what the other player is planning and what card they will be playing and so on, and you reveal at the same time. And the combat system is great as well, especially with the expansion. You have the system where you're rolling dice, but then you assign damage, and certain dice can only do damage to certain units and so on. So it's not just a simple just roll dice and see if you get a hit or not. You can block hits. You can there's a lot going on in this game. It's a long game. Maybe that's, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing with the game, because I like the epic feel of it. I like how long it is and how epic it feels. It's like, well, you know, you can play for 4 or 5 hours, but once you've done that, you really feel like you had an experience, and it's an experience you remember afterwards. So it's like goes beyond that game, right? Like when I go home after I had an evening playing this with a friend, I think about the game. Oh, I could have done that instead. And yeah. Such a fun game. So Star Wars Rebellion is my 41, and next week we'll be back with another episode where it's 40 to 30. No, it's 40 to 25. It's a little bit special next episode because, of course, the advent calendar is 24 to 1, and that's one episode each day from December 1st to December 24th. That's going to be really fun when Mats and Andreas, my friends, join me in that one. So the next episode, next Friday, is the last of this when I'm sitting here by myself or with Drako, talking about board games. And in that one, it's gonna be a longer episode because I'm gonna do the 40 to 25. So, all right, hope you will check that one out next week. Now, thank you for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press the thumbs up and like the video. Thank you so much for all the support for the channel. Have a great evening, morning, or whenever you're watching. Take care. Bye bye.